Leadership, the Eleanor Roosevelt Way. Timeless Strategies from the First Lady of Courage by Robin Gerber. Troubled child to fearless leader. Who is the young girl pictured? Some would say that this child had a horrible childhood. A daddy's girl, as you can tell, yet her daddy battled with alcoholism, and her mother rejected her because she said she wasn't pretty enough. This girl experienced more loss than any young child should have to. She was orphaned and eventually sent to live with her grandmother, who then sent her off to boarding school. Later in life, she married her distant cousin, and they had a troubled marriage, full of an affair. However, this child grew up to be one of the world's most admired women. She became First Lady of the United States of America. This child is Anna Eleanor Roosevelt. Anna Eleanor Roosevelt turned her turmoil and hardships into helping develop her leadership skills. The author pictured here is Robin Gerber. Leadership the Eleanor Roosevelt Way, Timeless Strategies from the First Lady of Courage was one of her best sellers. However, she has written other books. She is a distinguished author, historian, teacher, motivational speaker, and much more. This book was full of knowledge. Many say it's written for young women. I say it's written for all women, and anyone should read it. I found it to be very inspiring. However, there were a few, 15 main ideas that mainly stuck out to me. Here they are. We were all followers at one time or another. I think that's so important for us to remember because when we do hold leadership positions, we should remember what it was like to be a follower. Whether we were following after our parents, our older siblings, a teacher, we were all in that position at one time or another. Leadership is a learning process. Leaders aren't born, they're made. You have to be cultivated into a distinguished leader. It's important to find a mentor. Mentors pour into their proteges, but proteges also pour into their mentors. It's sort of like bridging a gap, and you learn from one another. It's important to have strong interpersonal skills. Eleanor believed that these interpersonal skills were tied to motherhood, for her at least, and that motherhood also helped her with her multitasking, which then boosted her leadership skills. Sorry, I didn't mean for those two to pop up at the same time. But when we face adversities, we should respond, and then we should change. We should adapt. Secondly, you need to find your passions. This reminded me of this week's lesson when we read our leadership credo. The more passionate you are about something, the better you're going to be at it. And so if we reflect on our personal values and what matters to us, then you can lead through those values, and it's going to come a lot easier and a lot more natural. You should surround yourself with others who have like goals. You need a good support system. And if you have people with like goals and morals and beliefs, then they're going to be able to more easily support you than those who don't, because they are able to understand you. You should have confidence and claim your right to leadership. Many people, including the usher of the White House, didn't think that Eleanor should carry certain positions and do certain things. However, she did it anyways, and she claimed her right to her leadership. And once you walk in with confidence, people are not going to question you near as much. Communicate effectively and from the heart. 1, going back to finding your passion. If you're passionate about it, then it's going to be coming from your heart because it's coming from within you. Communicating effectively is very important in leadership because you need to be able, those under you need to be able to understand why they're doing what they're doing and have clear instructions and know exactly where you stand on things, and your words are very important. And if you can't communicate effectively, you're not going to be a good leader. To me, they just go hand in hand. And it's what this class is all about. Next, you need to be able to reach out to others. This is one of my strengths along with communication. You need to be able to relate to others and reach out to them and help them cultivate their strengths into leadership and pull their gifts out of them. You have to be able to adjust your vision to the changing times. Eleanor was a visionary and she was always planning for the future, and that's very important in leadership. However, as time goes on, things change and you have to be able to adjust that vision to that change. Contacts, connections, and networking. Eleanor believed in making contacts, connections, and networking, and she also believed in maintaining those connections and contacts because just because you meet someone new and you make a new connection doesn't mean that you stop cultivating your past connections. And she also believed that she could be the connector, and I brought that out in one of my papers earlier this semester. I said that a leader should be the glue that holds everybody together, and I think if you're bridging the gap between different networks and you're connecting people and everything, then you're truly bringing others together, and that's what a leader does. You have to be a risk taker. You're never going to succeed if you don't take risks. Are you going to have some failures? Yes, but everyone does. Michael Jordan was a failure in high school. He didn't even start on his high school basketball team. Look where he is now. Focus on your abilities, talents, and strengths. This one stood out to me because I actually wrote this in one of my papers as well. It's really important for you to focus on your abilities, your talents, and your strengths rather than your weaknesses, because if you get caught up on your weaknesses, then you'll never reach your fullest potential and you'll never be the leader that you were meant to be. We have to be able to learn from others. Even though you may hold a leadership position or you may be a leader, it's very important for us to remember that we can still learn from our followers and we can learn from other leaders, and there's always room to learn and grow. We never know it all, truly. Connecting this back to the class, aside from, or to reiterate the connections I made as I went through each main idea, Eleanor's position as First Lady gave her power, but she was already a leader. She already had what it took inside of her to lead, and people admired her long before she was ever given the title of as First Lady of the United States of America. She believed in harping on your strengths and not focusing on your weaknesses. I just talked about that. It's very important to lean on your strengths, because if you get stuck on your weaknesses, you'll get down and out about yourself and be very insecure. I said earlier she was a visionary, and she was. She focused on the future, and she always had a plan. She knew where she was going, she knew where she wanted to go, and she did it, and she drug people along with her. And I mean drug in a good way. She believed in leader-follower relationships. I didn't actually say those words, but that connects back to the fact that we were all followers at once, and it's really important for leaders to remember that and stay humble and work collaboratively with their followers. Finally, she believed in effective communication, and that's what this class is all about. Cultivating our communication skills to work towards our leadership. And Eleanor truly believed that effective communication was very important. In conclusion, I believe that Robin Gerber did a phenomenal job of mixing leadership qualities, skills, and tips in with telling Eleanor's life story, and I truly enjoyed this book. I have always admired Eleanor Roosevelt, but even more so now. Thank you.